Live from the McAlpin Fine Arts Center at Indian River State College, it's Voices of the River. And now, here's the host of Voices of the River, Laura Metcalf.
Welcome, everybody, to Voices of the River. This is our second taping today. We appreciate having you in the audience. Voices of the River is just a little talk show that allows our alumni to share their stories with our incoming students. It's a big day on our campus today with new student orientation, 3,000 students, 1,000 parents, and we are delighted to welcome them all. I have several terrific guests for you today. You'll hear some interesting stories. You'll be able to ask some questions. Sit back and enjoy as I welcome our first guest. Our first guest is Kathy Ergel. Kathy grew up in East Tennessee, but is proudly called Port St. Lucie home since she was in high school. She is a proud Indian River State College alum. Welcome, Kathy. Yay! Yay, Kathy, thank you. Second, we have Sydney Dupree. Sydney also graduated from Indian River State College, as well as Spelman College. Sydney was a theater major here, and you might recognize her from commercials or movies. Welcome, Sydney. Carol Ann Summers, a fellow New Yorker, yay, NYC, graduated from Indian River State College with both an associate's and a bachelor's degree, and works at Indian River State College on our Mueller campus in Vero Beach. Welcome, Carol Ann. And last but not least, someone who is near and dear to my heart, Deshaun Watts, graduated in 2024, works with me in the Indian River State College Foundation. And we welcome Deshaun. We are expecting great things from you today. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to get started. Carol Ann, you're sitting next to me. I think I'll start with you.
Okay.
Give us a little bit, just a paragraph or two about your journey to Indian River State College. It's kind of a fun story.
Okay, so I had no intention of ever living in Florida. It was not on my bucket list. It was nowhere, not in my rear or front view. So, but as everyone knows, life changes and you have to adapt. And it had to do with family. So I found myself here, and I had no idea what my next steps were going to be. So my mother, registered nurse, had to come to Iris. Let me correct myself, the river, because Indian River State College is not stuck in my brain yet, so I shall say the river. And she needed to get some materials for ongoing education. So we came to this campus and we sat down with an advisor by the name of Simone. And Simone was interacting with my mom, and I was just sitting there because after all, I was just a chauffeur. And she then turned to me and said, "And what's your story? What are you doing?" I kind of went, "Nothing, I'm just the chauffeur." She said, no, what do you do?" So I started to tell her I just moved here, had no plans yet, so on and so forth. Long story short, she started to talk to me about taking classes here. And I was like, kind of listening. Well, let me tell you, by the time I was finished the conversation and ready to take my mom home, I was registered for classes. And I got to tell you, I kept saying to my mom, "What just happened? How did this happen? What's going on?" Well, long story short again, I ended up here in classes, finished my associate's degree, and then same Simone said, "What's next? You're going on to your bachelor's." I said, okay? And I did a BAS, organizational management. And so I found that I really liked the academic, the whole vibe, because I had been in human resources for 25 years. So then finished that, got a job in a university, with the university, I should say, and then found that things changed again, and I needed a part-time job. So I said, you know what, let me look. What's Indian River, the river, offering? Well, there was something part-time, and I said, you know what, I'm going to apply. I did. And I walked into the interview, and lo and behold, there was Simone on the panel, and I thought, she must be stalking me or something because this is really weird. So we hugged. I was so happy to see her. And again, I got the job part-time. And the next thing I knew, there was a full-time position, and I applied for that and got it, and here I am at the river. So that's a story.
Yay, well, lucky us. Yeah. Deshaun, tell us a little bit about your journey to Indian River State College.
Well, I was born in West Palm Beach, and I somehow made my way up to Fort Pierce. I've been to 12 different schools, moved countless many times before I even hit Indian River State College. My first year was a typical student who works full-time, who was trying to do classes full-time. Second year, I was on campus now. My first year, I had online classes. Second year on campus, I was trying to figure myself out, trying to change things up from classes to the parking lot, home, work, classes, parking lot. So I kind of tried my second year to get out there and see what's on campus, just like many people here. My third year, I started looking into leadership programs, right? I went to the KSU, the union, and there was a lot of opportunities for people to approach me, for me to reach out to people. Somehow they got me into joining a club. Somehow they got me into becoming a president of a club. And by my fourth year, I was at work study. I was still doing classes, of course. I was going to graduate my associates in history. I then became SGA treasurer. So that was really fun, cool experience.
What is SGA?
Oh, SGA is Student Government Association.
Terrific, thank you.
Yeah, and it was a big turning point to me realizing that I can do more for students. And I try to, I try to think of how other students think of me. We're all the same. We're all trying to get through our lives. We all want to do best for our families, to be successful. And helping people get there was kind of my calling. So I was happy to become a work study for the student union, student life. And then I worked for the foundation last year, May. So my fourth year, I started working for the foundation. And then from there, I continue to help students in many ways possible.
Terrific, thank you for sharing your story with us. Kathy, yours is an interesting story too.
Yes. After I graduated high school, I moved to Port St. Lucie, and at that time, my mother worked in the NICU and was an RN, and my sister was a graduate from Indian River Nursing Program. Interesting enough, my mom said, "You need a job with insurance." And I said, "Okay." So I started as a unit secretary. I wasn't sure where my path was. I didn't like the sight of blood. So I was trying to feel where I needed to go. So one thing led to another. And as I worked in the healthcare field and on the unit, I ended up enrolling in nursing school. I received my associate's degree in 1995. And then I actually circle back when we were opening Tradition. I was venturing into my leadership role as a manager and pursued my bachelor's. So I graduated with my bachelor's from Indian River State College in 2013. And then reconnected with Indian River. And I have to share this because I'm very proud to be an alumni, but my daughter is also employed at Indian River as the head volleyball coach and assistant athletic director. And so that's just kind of given me a refound connection to the university, to the college again. So I'm super excited to be here. So thank you.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing your story. And Sydney. Sydney was a theater major, so there is a lot to hear from her. Be
Yes.
flamboyant. Do whatever you need to do.
Okay. So I started out doing theater here at Indian River State College when I was like 12 or 13. There used to be a junior theater program, and so I was involved in that at a very young age. We did Willy Wonka Jr. and Beauty and the Beast and things like that, and that was really awesome. And so I'd already known that that was an option at IRC, but I initially wanted to go as far away as possible, like as I'm sure a lot of you or people that you know, like I just want to get away and be independent. Because I just lived here in Port St. Lucie. But I ended up here at Indian River, and I auditioned and ended up getting a theater scholarship. And so I'd done dual enrollment for a year, and then I just had to do one more year here. And that was an amazing experience for me. I told my advisor that I wanted to transfer to an HBCU. I was between Howard University and Spelman College. And so she said, no one's ever done that before at either of those schools, but we can do it. And so she combed through all of the courses that were required for the ones that I wanted to study, the one that I wanted to transfer to, and the classes that are offered here. And it was a really smooth transition, so I didn't have to retake any of my classes, thank the Lord. And that was really awesome. And then I went on to transfer to Spelman College, where I graduated as valedictorian in 2023. And then I also signed with an agency in those years, so I've done some acting since then. And now I work at a youth program called End It Corporation, which is not far from here. And I work with youth now, putting on shows like I used to be in when I was younger. So we just did Camp Rock Junior like a couple of weeks ago here on the stage. And then we also did Aladdin and High School Musical and all those different kinds of shows. So it's a really full circle moment for me.
Totally a full circle moment. Absolutely. So I have a ton of questions for our guests. But before I get started with my questions, does anybody in the audience have a question they'd like to ask?
Come on, especially since we're so intimate here. And you get to play with this fun cube. Anybody? Anybody? Anybody?
The young lady here, I recognized your last name. Are you related to the awesome Strather Dupree?
I am, that's my dad.
He's amazing.
Thank you.
And she also has a sister who is
Yes.
working here at Indian River State College.
Yes.
Simone.
Okay. So, we decided to do this show in order to provide incoming students just some guidance and little recommendations as to how to navigate their early months, early year in college. So what kind of advice would you like to give today, Carol Ann, to our incoming students?
Well, I would say ask as many questions as you can, and don't doubt yourself with respect to the questions. And understand that we are really committed to making you successful in whatever the journey is that you're on. And understand that everybody you meet is your partner. So, from your advisor to your professor, just people walking on the campuses, you can stop them, you can ask questions, because we really are committed to that. So questions and more questions, and understand that everybody's here to help you.
Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Just really be engaged in the college itself. There's so many opportunities out there to either develop friendships, find that person that you can, kind of see the campus with. And there's so many different campuses too. So, you really have to kind of reach out and know what that's like. But in knowing what the school has to offer, it could be anywhere from attending a volleyball match to going to a club, to going to theater, and just kind of getting yourself out there and almost kind of being sometimes uncomfortable as putting yourself out there, knowing what's available, and not that you're not alone, and ask the questions like Carol Ann said, because you need to be able to know your limits, but also be supported too. And so, if you have questions, or like I said, my big thing is know your campus, enjoy being on the campus, seeing what it has to offer, because sometimes it's just not attending class.
It's interesting you mentioned the word uncomfortable, that you have to be uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
you're going to be uncomfortable. Any words of inspiration or guidance as to helping our new students come out of their shells, not be enormously self-conscious? Deshaun?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was that student who tried to stay secluded, tried to just go to just maybe one part of the campus, but you ultimately meet people who have the same hobbies, have the same kind of energy as you, and just got to hold on to them and make sure that you try to, just work your way through the college with them. It's really important to find like a rock that you can, hold on to have a support system in the college. That's the biggest thing for me. And then slowly but surely, you will find that knowing people, having those connections is always best for you, no matter what. Connections is what brought me here today, and connections is what will bring you success in the future. That's what I was taught here, and that's what I was, spilling out. That's what I'm spilling out right now. It's a very important thing just to be sure to put yourself out there and do what's best for you and the people around you. You're just gonna have that flow of things here.
Thank you for that, Deshaun.
I would just add, to piggyback off of that, I think definitely connections are important, as well as kind of this is the perfect time for you to find yourself and kind of rebrand yourself as whatever you want to be. So I am a big advocate for not pulling introverts out and making them extroverts. Some people are just introverted, and that's okay. But just being open to working with people, being open to group projects, having an open mind about everything, I think is really important. And not, like you said, kind of staying to yourself and not willing to expand your circle or expand your knowledge, because I think that does kind of go hand in hand.
Can any of you speak to what our advisors do for students? Did you have a good experience, an experience you wish had been better? How did advisors affect your college journey?
Well, I'll go first because I tell you, I had the absolute best advisor, Simone. And she,
We all know Simone now.
yes, she not only encouraged me because I was an older student, I was a returning adult. And she not only understood that, and so she knew how to approach me, how to connect with me. But she was also tough in some instances, literally telling me exactly the way it is. I remember I shared before, I was so sick and tired of going to classes. I had college algebra to do, and I thought, I just can't. Plus math is just not my thing. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to get it out of the way. I'm going to take it in the summer. Now, everybody knows summer is short. First weekend, I thought, no, this is not happening. I'm going to fail this class, and failure for me with my courses, just not an option. So I went to her. I was so annoyed with myself. And she looked at me. She allowed me to rant. And she asked me, who told you you had to do it in the summer? I kind of looked at her and I said, I told myself that I had to do it. And she said, well, but you don't. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to withdraw, and you're going to take it in the fall. You have a longer period, and that will probably suit you better. And the minute she said it, it was rational. I don't know why it didn't click for me. I said, you know what? Yes. Okay. That's exactly what I did. That was the best advice she could have given me. But she never, ever, ever made me feel, you can't do this. Never. So she was my partner.
Oh, I love that, partner.
Yeah.
And we want you to know that we at Indian River State College really are your partners. I have found in the years that I've worked here this to be a very caring and supportive atmosphere, more than I had experienced at previous universities. So there's something special here, and we really, really want you to know that we're here for you. Deshaun, did you have something to add to Carol's story? I saw you nodding your head when you were when I asked about an advisor.
Well, I'm not sure if she was an advisor. I forgot her name. It's been for almost 5 years. But there was a time when I was heading out of high school, graduate from high school, COVID year 2020. We all love that year, right? And I was just dissuaded from going to college. I thought I couldn't do it, honestly. I thought that, it was just, I just thought I could never do that.
That it was going to be too hard
It was
in
going to
your
be too
life
hard.
to do it.
It was
Yeah.
gonna work out. I didn't have the motivation for it. So I definitely missed out on some opportunities like the Promise Program, for example, but that's okay. Because I think I tried to join Indian River State College right before the school started, like 2 weeks prior. And I called this lady, or I called the line for IRC, and I wish I knew her name, but for those 2 weeks, she tried her best to pull me into joining classes and make sure I get my stuff right, my transcripts, my records, everything correct, make sure I be there on campus to submit all these things, talk to the advisor within 2 weeks. And she got me there just in time. And I can, if I see her now, I will give her a hug, I'll thank her, I'll do, I'm just extremely happy we have people like that who didn't have to. She wasn't an advisor, but who didn't have to, try this hard to make sure I'm where I'm at right now. So if she sees this, thank you so much. And also shout out to Ms. Greener, advisor. She definitely helped me my first 3 years. And everything past that, I learned how to do it myself the right way, but I still made mistakes, of course. And I head to her, ask her for advice. She set me on the right path. So definitely the advisors and people who work around them will try their best to support students. And I've seen that since day one. That's pretty much all I have to say.
How lucky are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sydney?
Yeah, just I guess to add to that, like I mentioned, her name was Terry when I was here. She was an advisor, and that's the one who set me up to be able to transfer my classes. But I just really admire how thorough she was. She didn't make me feel rushed, and she was really open to kind of creating a new path for me. So I think that's really big for anyone. I also have a sister who graduated. She did dual enrollment here, and then she transferred to Spelman with me, Sinclair, and she created her own major there. So I'm really big on carving your own path. If you haven't seen anyone else do what you're doing, it doesn't mean that it's not possible. And it's always kind of creating your own thing, not comparing to other people, but what do you want to do? Who says you can't do both? Who says you can't do something that someone else hasn't done before?
I think the biggest advice we would all want to give our incoming students is to never be afraid to ask for help. Asking for help is one of the hardest things for human beings, but we want you to know we're here for you. Ask for help. When I think back to my own college story, I started college and was very happy to go to the furthest away college that accepted me. Right. I wanted to be an adult, and needless to say, I partied and didn't go to class and never, I didn't survive the semester and was ultimately kicked out and went home. And I think one of the things I failed to do, number one, I certainly wasn't mature enough, but I failed to ask for help because I was too embarrassed. And you miss a class, then you miss it again, and then you think, okay, the road is downhill. I think had I reached out to a professor and said, look, I screwed up. I had a really good time the last 2 weekends, and I need to get back in the groove. What do I need to do? But, when you're young, it's hard to ask for help. Even when you're older, it's hard to ask for help. Ask for help. Really, really important. Does anybody in the audience have a question for us?
Nobody? Really? Nobody?
Okay.
None of them, I guess. I just want to
Oh.
add that actually Laura Midkiff did finish college. She went back. It all worked
Oh, I
out.
did. Thank you for that. Thanks. I did. And then I got a master's. And yes, I got my act together. It took a very long time, as my mother says.
Hello. I had a question. What was your favorite spot to hang out on campus? Like out of all the campuses and what did you get to explore? What was your favorite location to study or just hang out?
I could take that, especially since I'm still a current student. I'm a little biased. I've been on Massey campus the most, the main campus. It's the place to be. It's the biggest campus. There's so many events to do, whether it's with the athletic department, with the volleyball team, the basketball games, baseball, theater.
Oh.
Yes, please. Theater is great.
Nice plug.
But even outside that, there's a lot of spots to sit outside, take in the good air. There's a lot of events that goes on here through student life or any other departments. There's so much to do. If you go on River Life, you can see how many events we have, especially with the clubs. Again, as an club president here, I can say the clubs, there's always something to do. You'll always find a club meeting or something similar to that. So yeah, Massey campus it's never stopped. The river just flows,
Oh, nicely put, Deshawn.
I agree. I was going to say the theater. Still my answer. The theater, obviously, for me. The KSU also. There's like that inner room with the tennis, table tennis table.
Table
That's still
tennis.
there?
It's still there.
Okay. That was really fun. And also the basketball games. I think there's a lot more opportunities now as it continues to grow. But those are my favorite spots.
Well, I'm an older student, as I said, and for me, it was the library at the Pruitt campus.
Oh my goodness, so dedicated and
No,
studious.
not, I have to be honest with you, it's not, it was the atmosphere that they created in the library. I mean, and the people were so nice. And I'm not a nerd. I just really look forward to going to the library, not just to study, but because the folks were so welcoming and they were just, after a while, they were like, hey, you're back. How are you? You need any help? Can we do anything for you? And I thought, wow, I like this place. So.
Terrific. Any other questions?
Sure you do.
Yay.
Well, I'm taking up business, and I was wondering, like, if I do the volunteer for ushering here, would it help me with business? Because I want to go into business for myself. Would it help me communicate more with
I have a feeling.
Hey, I'm grabbing
Althea's-
because I'm the house manager here for the theater manager. My name's Althea. Hi. Oh, there you go. So yes, I'm going to answer that question for you. Ushering does help with business because when you're ushering, a little side thing is you have me there to sort of tell you all about the business of theater, how things go. You get to see how a show works. You get to see the patrons. It's all about the patrons and making for a good experience. But there, you get an opportunity to see what's going on the business side, on the ticketing side, and all of that. So that would definitely help somebody in business for sure. You're welcome. And we'll have to meet.
Terrific. Okay, to wind down our show today, I would love it for each of us to say what you like best about Indian River State College and why. And in doing that, really think about the fact that these are incoming new students that we want the best for. Sydney, I'm going to start with you.
I think my favorite thing about my experience at the River was probably how dynamic the classes were, and it felt like it was, I guess, to differ from my high school classes where you just have the teacher talking and you're taking notes. It's like kind of one format, and a lot of people don't learn that way, or they learn more hands-on or group projects and all those kinds of things. So even starting from when I did dual enrollment, I did notice that the classes were a lot more kinesthetic, and a lot more accommodating to different learning styles and different types of people, which I really loved. I took an English class I don't know if he's still here. I think it was Dr. Finbo was his name, and it was analyzing 90s music and the lyrics and everything and writing essays on that for our English class. I had a history class, and I didn't even, I wasn't a history person, but it was US history, and she was really in-depth and thorough, but she made it in a format to where it wasn't just a teacher talks, you listen, you're just sitting there for hours. And that's kind of what I thought the lecture format was gonna be, but it was really dynamic, and I think that was my favorite part about the classes and why I got so much from it.
Wow, Kathy?
Well, from my perspective, because I've seen the evolution and the expansion of Indian River State College and how many areas in our counties that we are located and we have a presence. So as far as not only the diversity and now the change, if you will, formats and classes to get students engaged, the flexibility to really kind of fall into somebody's personal life, like regardless if you're working full-time, part-time, kids at home, whatever, and location. We have multiple campuses that we can cater to that offer. Now what I've seen is back in the day, it was very select. Now, for the most part, it's pretty robust in that, like, if you're here or you're not having to travel a long distance, that you can make it fit where you need it to fit. And I have seen over the course and being heavily involved in the community with my job, and then my daughter being back at Indian River, just noticing that from when I graduated back in 1995,
You don't look a day over 26.
Just the expansion of not only the education piece and bringing in the bachelor degrees and the different types of, and going back to what Cindy said, they made what they did for her. We haven't heard of that, but we're going to see what we can do for you. And then even probably within the campus, doing things like that for students because they asked or they had concerns. But to me, as new students come in, the takeaway is that Indian River has built the flexibility to fit really anybody's lifestyle between the Promise program and between what's on campus. So if you wanted to be a full-time student and get the college life, that's there. If you're a mom returning to school and need flexible hours and go part-time, it's there. If you're kind of can't travel or you don't have transport, it's online or it's right there in your backyard. So I think from the progression that I've seen since I graduated, it has been enormous.
That's absolutely fascinating to me. I mean, truly, having only worked here for several years, to hear about that.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think about what I have seen here and what I would want our community to know. Workforce education, nursing, health sciences, theater, management, business. I mean, there's a lot that we offer here that our Ford County service area, the folks that live there, aren't fully aware of.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should all meet back here and start doing commercials. And you can be the star.
We'll give it to the
Deshaun, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
You guys said great things, honestly. But I really want to stress the fact that the people and the resources, in my opinion, are the best thing about this college. I come from humble beginnings, first generation. And I see a lot of people, a lot of students around us, a lot of employees, faculty, who are just like me in a way, right? Or who was in my place before. And the resources here, whether it's the food pantry, whether it's workshops, things, even events like the Career Expo, they do a lot of things to help students, continue on their college experience and to be successful, which is the most important thing to me. I want everyone here to be successful because, well, let me not go down that route. But yeah, that's pretty much the main point. The people are always great. They always want the best for you. People like me. And then, yeah, there's a lot of things on campus. If you need help, like we said, don't be afraid to ask for it. Don't be afraid to tap someone on the shoulder and make sure they, understand that we're gonna help you get to where you have to get to in order to get your degree and get out there.
And when you get out there, we're gonna be really proud of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Carol?
I would say this there's a theme that's running around in my head. Not that it is in anyone's head, any other person's head, but I always say to students who come into my area, which is the assessment area, testing area, we always say we're welcome and we're glad you're here. But besides that, yes, you can, and yes, we can. That's the theme that's going around in my head, because we try to get students to understand that yes, you can. We're going to help you. But it's in my head. Yes, you can. And yes, we can. So.
And that is a perfect way to end our show today. I'd like to thank our guests today, Sydney, Kathy, Deshawn, and Carol Ann. We really appreciate our audience members and hope that you've learned something today. Know that when you see us on campus, come hit us up. We're here to help. We want you to be successful. Thanks for joining us today for Voices of the River.